Well, I don't want to come off the bench. It's not a personal issue. Well, I don't like my role.
Bonner, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. See ya. Wouldn't want to.
DeWanna Bonner signs a free agent contract with the Indiana Fever, and after a handful of games, wants a Fever exit apparently, and that is a strange situation. Right? Because she was embraced, she had her achieved.
DeWanna Bonner, more like Dana Goner. That's right, what we just witnessed was one of the most unprofessional, self-centered meltdowns the WNBA has seen in years. The veteran who was supposed to lead the Indiana Fever just bailed, running home the moment things got real. So much for being the steady hand of experience.
Veteran DeWanna Bonner, the team announced. Indiana looked at trade possibilities for the six-time All-Star who had not played since June 10th for what the team called, quote, personal reasons. Well, the personal reasons were, from what I could tell, playing time is what I knew.
Is the story of a player who thought she was signing up for a cozy retirement for easy checks, minimal effort, and riding someone else's spotlight, but instead, she walked into real basketball, where you've got to earn your minutes and fight for your place.
DeWanna Bonner out with the old. Aaron McDonald, welcome back in with the new breaking. The Fever are waving. DeWanna Bonner, league sources told the Indy Star, then re-signing Ari McDonald. Bonner requested a trade after feeling she couldn't find a role on the team after getting benched, along with a bevy of other reasons as we covered yesterday. But Indiana could not find a suitable trade.
And DeWanna Bonner signed with the Indiana Fever back in February. She thought she was joining a low-key franchise where a starting spot would be handed to her and the season would be smooth sailing. What she walked into instead was a team completely transformed by Caitlin Clark, suddenly the most watched, most intense, and most cutthroat environment in the entire one-back.
DeWanna Bonner signs a free agent contract with the Indiana Fever, and after a handful of games, wants a Fever exit apparently, and that is a strange situation. Right? Because she was embraced, she had her achievement at the beginning of the season, moving up the scoring ranks. They were referring to her as Mama Bear in training camp, and now all of a sudden that has fallen apart. She was out of the starting lineup, hadn't really produced that much, particularly on the offensive end, and this, looks poor on the franchise when it comes to the free agent moves in retrospect, the team that they put together in the offseason. I don't think it reflects well on DeWanna Bonner, whose absence was for quote-unquote personal reasons, but now it seems like she was just upset with the team and the situation overall, and it adds more drama to what has been a drama-filled season for Caitlin Clark.
Writing was on the wall from day one, but Bonner was too wrapped up in her own ego to see it. She started the first 3 games and put up a jaw-dropping 2.6 points per game, shooting a brutal 2-foot well from the field. That's not veteran leadership. That's veteran decline on full display. Next,
her minutes had significantly dropped from last year. Well, in turn, if her minutes drop, a lot of her production numbers that she can see and the rest of the league can see also dropped with it. Look, she's just like Natasha Howard. She looks old on the court. All right, not trying to be this is not ageism. She looks like an older athlete. All right, she looks slower on the court, and the team has been lacking energy. It's been a serious problem. Seriously, long overdue. Let her go to the place where she feels she would be.
So, what did Coach Stephanie White do? She made the only logical move any competent coach would. She benched Bonner and gave the spot to Lexi Hull, a player actually committed to playing winning basketball.
Couldn't fit with the rotations of the team. She's upset that Lexi Hall took her spot. That's the truth. Little blonde girl from next door took her spot. That's what it was. Lexi Hall is a good basketball player. I think she earned that spot, in my opinion, and she's shooting very well from 3. She's an excellent three-point shooter this season. She's a sniper offseason. And she hustles, she gets rebounds, she gets steals. She puts her heart out every season.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Now, how did our so-called veteran leader respond to a completely reasonable coaching decision? Like a spoiled child who just had her favorite toy taken away. Instead of rising to the challenge, putting in the work, and earning her spot back, Bonner took the easy way out. She requested a trade, citing that the fit didn't work out, which is just basketball code for, I can't handle not being the center of attention. But here's where it gets really embarrassing. Bonner didn't just quietly ask for a trade, she bailed on her team. She stopped showing up to games, claimed personal reasons, and left her teammates hanging for 5 straight contests. Let's be real, the only personal reason here is that her ego couldn't handle being benched. She found out the hard way that she might not be good enough to start on a legit championship.
Bonner, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. What's it? See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, right? I'm not telling you gotta go home, but you gotta get up out of here. DeWanna Bonner out with the old. Aaron McDonald, welcome back in with the new breaking. The Fever are waving. DeWanna Bonner, league sources told the Indy Star, then re-signing Aaron McDonald. Bonner requested a trade after feeling she couldn't find a role on the team after getting benched, along with a bevy of other reasons as we covered yesterday. But Indiana could not find a suitable trade option. My first
That this isn't just about talent, it's about character, and DeWanna Bonner's character crumbled the moment real adversity showed up. She signed on to be a veteran leader for a young squad, but as soon as that team started feeling the pressure and attention that comes with having a generational star like Caitlin Clark, Bonner folded like a cheap suit. She couldn't handle the spotlight, not because it was too bright, but because it wasn't shining on her. The jealousy was obvious, almost painful to watch. This is a player who spent most of her career in the shadows, winning titles with teams that barely moved the needle. Suddenly, she was on the most talked about team in the WNBA, and she couldn't take it. Deep down, she didn't want to support the star, she wanted to be the star.
So the truth is, DeWanna Bonner was butthurt. That's what it comes down to. She was butthurt, her ego was bruised, and she wanted to cry and leave. This is a shame. See, if you're truly a team player, you accept that Lexi Hull's better than you. You accept being a role player and contribute of the way you can. And why do you even care at this point? You're 37 years old. You're making a lot of money for a WNBA player. Why not just ride it out? I don't understand that. You know what it was? She missed her boo thing in Phoenix, and she just want to wiggle her way out so she can go to Phoenix. That's all it was.
Instead of embracing the chance to be part of something special, DeWanna Bonner resented it. She resented the 17,000 fans packing arenas not for her, but for Caitlin Clark. She resented that every sellout crowd, every headline, and every camera was focused on a 22-year-old rookie who, in just months, had already done more to elevate women's basketball than Bonner had in nearly 2 decades. But let's be honest, the real villain in this story isn't just Bonner.
Long story short, DB thought her role was going to be one thing. She came in playing terrible, got benched, and was upset about it. Long story short, Shorty got her record and dipped. That's low-key crazy, y'all. Shorty dipped from the team for personal reasons for 5-6 games and then said she has no intentions on coming back. Because you sucked this year? She really had to be a double agent, dog. There's no way. She a career 29% three-point shooter, but she was shooting 30-footers with us. No bullshit. Like, it's no way. She was missing layups. She was getting blown by, like...
It's the pressure from the so-called old guard of the WNBA. For years, veteran players coasted in comfort, playing to half-empty gyms in front of family, diehards, and little national buzz. Then Caitlin Clark entered the league and everything changed. Sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV ratings, national attention. And instead of welcoming that momentum, many veterans treated it like a threat. DeWanna Bonner was supposed to be a bridge between eras, a steady vet helping lead a young, rising team. But when the spotlight shifted and her production fell flat, she folded. Bonner came in expecting to coast into a starting role. Instead, she played poorly, got benched, and couldn't handle it. So what did she do? She dipped 5-6 games, missed for personal reasons. Translation: her ego was bruised, and then she had the nerve to say she had no intention of returning. That's not leadership. That's quitting. Let's not ignore the details either. This is a career 29% three-point shooter, jacking up 30-footers like she was Steph Curry, missing layups, getting cooked on defense. It felt like sabotage, or at the very least, a total disconnect from reality. In the end, Bonner didn't just walk away from the Indiana Fever, she walked away from what could have been her legacy moment. She could have helped usher in the WNBA's new era. Instead, she chose bitterness over growth, ego over team, and silence over accountability. A 37-year-old veteran acting like a teenager who didn't make varsity. Anyone paying attention could see this coming, getting odd the amount of time that she had missed with no explanation as to why, no timeline on her return. Not making the road trip. All of these things, the lack of information and the basic mystery would be enough to get anybody's spidey sense tingling about this situation. But on top of that, I'll tell you this much: I heard that it was more basketball related than anything else over the weekend. Now let's examine where our disgraced former Fever player is trying to force her way to, because the destinations tell you everything you need to know about her character. She's reportedly trying to force a move to the Phoenix Mercury, the team where she spent the first decade of her career, basically running back to her comfort zone where she can hide from the pressure of actually mattering. She could potentially be going to the Atlanta Dream, who has Brittany Griner, who famously doesn't like Caitlin Clark. And yes, we all saw that viral moment where Griner allegedly used a slur on Clark after fouling out. These are the kind of players Bonner wants to surround herself with, players who have made it clear they resent everything Caitlin Clark represents. She's literally choosing to align herself with the most toxic elements of the WNBA rather than being part of something positive and transformative. And there's been so much speculation around her absence, but the whole thing was just kind of bizarre, and a lot of Fever fans were speculating that we're not going to see her back. And just today it was announced that she has no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and her preferred destinations are either Atlanta or the Phoenix Mercury. It's also been reported that the main reason that she wanted to leave is because things felt off from the beginning and she thought that she would be a starter. But if you guys remember, DB was starting in the beginning of the season and she honestly just wasn't playing her best, so Lexi Hall moved into that starting position. And then she has the audacity to release a statement thanking the Indiana Fever. If she's some gracious professional who's handling the situation with class, who does she think she is? This is like someone who burns down your house and then thanks you for the matches. You don't get to abandon your team, leave your teammates hanging, and then act like you're taking the high road. But here's the beautiful irony in all of this: the Fever are actually better off without her one less toxic player who clearly couldn't handle the pressure of being on a team that actually matters. They've replaced her with someone who genuinely wants to be there, someone who appreciates the opportunity, and someone who will actually fight for the team rather than against it. Bonner knew damn well she didn't want to come to Indiana. She knew she ain't want to be there. She knew she didn't want to be there. I think the fix was in the Phoenix Mercury. Didn't have the bread to pay her. She said, "I'ma get the bag elsewhere, and then I'ma force my way out to where, within the first half of the season before All-Star Alyssa Thomas, I'm going to be on your team." I think the fix has been in. I think the Phoenix Mercury knew this was going to happen. I think they knew this was going to happen. I think she played bad on purpose. She plummeted her stock to the point where it's not like we could trade her. It's official. It is official, y'all. Enter Ari McDonald, the player who's everything Dana Bonner isn't. When McDonald got her shot with a Fever on a hardship contract earlier this season, she didn't waste a single second feeling sorry for herself. or complaining about her role. She averaged 11 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals in just 3 games, immediately becoming a fan favorite. With her hustle defense and infectious energy, she played like someone who was grateful for the opportunity. Not entitled to it, McDonald's story is the perfect contrast to Bonner's pathetic exit. Here's a player who was cut during training camp by the LA Sparks, left without a team, and could have easily given up. They could see a player who actually wanted to be part of what the Fever were building, rather than someone who was just collecting a paycheck. McDonald's high motor style and gritty defense struck a chord with a fan base that had been looking for players who would actually fight alongside their superstar rather than resent her success. Harry McDonald back. That's good business. Glad she's back. I knew she was waiting after all those hardship contracts were being signed by different players on different teams, cause I was like, man, look, Ari not on a team yet, she's coming back. Even better. McDonald immediately understood what it meant to play for the Fever in the Caitlin Clark era. She didn't see Clark's success as a threat, she saw it as an opportunity to be part of something special. Although my time with the team was brief, it immediately felt like the place to be, McDonald said when she was resigned. Compare that to Bonner's statement about how the fit did not work out, one player embracing the moment, the other running from it. Fever crew and GM Amber Cox summed it up perfectly. From the moment she arrived in Indy, Ori was a clear fit with a style and mentality we are building here with the Fever. Though only here a few games, her impact as a playmaker and a defender was evident. Notice the key phrase, they're the style and mentality we are building. That's exactly what Bonner never understood. The Fever aren't trying to accommodate players who can't handle pressure. They're building a culture of excellence, competitiveness, and resilience. Anyway, it was pretty evident that Bonner did not want to be a part of this team. The fans seemed to take her in, but that wasn't enough. The fact Bonner had zero trade value is telling. To Ari McDonald was so impressive in her first stint in Indiana, she'd be a great fit. Now I do feel like maybe they couldn't find a way to trade Bonner. Like I stated, the 2 teams she wanted to go to, I didn't see any use for her being their man. Like, I'm not being disrespectful, there was just no use for her there, and she still wasn't going to start. So I don't know, man. And what about Natasha Howard, the other veteran who joined the Fever alongside Bonner? Howard's response to this entire situation has been telling. While she posted some cryptic messages on social media that could be interpreted various ways, the most important thing she did was state she didn't abandon her team when things got challenging. She didn't demand a trade when her role wasn't exactly what she expected. She stayed and fought, which is what professionals do. The contrast between Howard and Bonner is stark. Both players were brought in to provide veteran leadership, but only one of them actually understood what that meant. They'd rather play in empty arenas and maintain their comfortable mediocrity than embrace the unprecedented success that Caitlin Clark has brought to their sport. Dana Bonner became the poster child for this toxic mindset, so Dana Bonner pulls one of the weakest moves in sports history and quits on the Indiana Fever. Not even halfway through this season, man, your ass couldn't hit the side of a barn and was stinking it up every game, and you're mad about a starting spot or some completely lost all respect for your punk-ass man. And now your preferred destination is the Phoenix Mercury in the dream. Oh, what? So you can go back with Alyssa Thomas and Scissor? What the kind of is this? And then all the people that hate Caitlin Clark so much, the Black Clan and Black Clan Panders are sitting here supporting this weak-ass move. Y'all call yourselves real so much and all this, and you're defending a player quitting. The WNBA has spent decades struggling for relevance, fighting for television coverage, begging for fan engagement. Then along comes a player who single-handedly solves all of those problems, and instead of celebrating certain players, decide to tear her down. It's professional jealousy at its most pathetic, and Bonner fell right into that trap. But here's what makes this story even more frustrating. Bonner had every opportunity to be part of something historic. She could have been the veteran who helped guide a young superstar to a championship. The Fever's quick move to replace Bonner with McDonald sends a clear message to the rest of the league. If you can't handle the pressure of being part of greatness, there are plenty of players who can. If you're not willing to fight for your spot, there are players who will appreciate the opportunity. If you're going to prioritize your feelings over team success, there's the